Hey guys, Chesapeake Blue Wreath. We are here and I can't see my face. Let me fix this a little bit. All right. Hey, so we're gonna wait a second for people to find us. This is a very unique wreath that we're gonna be making today. Alani cans apparently are not just for drinking. I have received a request to make a can. These are Alani energy drinks. I've received a request to make a wreath with these. A very special teenager in my life sent me this picture of a wreath with these cans in it. So we're gonna try something new, and we're gonna take some inspiration from the picture and we're going to change it up a little bit, and I hope that she isn't super picky about it, but I think it's gonna be cute. My first challenge was figuring out how to get metal cans to attach to a wreath without punching holes in the metal. That was my first. Hey, Annette. Isn't it funny? Like, girl, we are stepping out. We're stepping out. Look at these. I have all different flavors. It doesn't smell like she rinsed. I don't know if they're rinsed out or not, but I didn't do it. So, yes, we're stepping out. No, I'm not selling this. This is a gift. Okay. So before anyone gets, all a certain way about me selling licensed things, I'm not selling them. Okay, this is a gift. We're gonna be creative. So my special teenager, not my teenager, but a special teenager to me, she messaged me this picture of a wreath. It looked like a metal wreath form with all these Alani cans on it, because, this is the thing right now with adults and older teenagers, I guess. They're like energy drinks. And they taste really good, I've heard, but I've never tried them. So it was a wreath, and it had all these Alani cans on it, and then it had, in between the cans, they just smashed some florals. Girl, we can do better than that. So she sent me a picture, and she's like, can you make this for me? And I said, yes, but it's going to look better. Not to talk bad about it, but it looked like it was made by like a teenager, that like had the idea and made it and loves it. So she loves that picture. So she's really going to love what I make her, because it's going to be better. Okay. So the picture had light pink in it. And I asked her, do you like the light pink? She said, yes. So what we're going to do is we have a 14-inch frame. We're going to do the 18 ties. We're only going to put mesh on it because most of it's going to be covered up with the cans anyways. The original picture did not use mesh. It just had cans. So this is going to be good. I don't want it to be too big because she liked that look. So I know that look isn't like a 30-inch wreath or a huge wreath. It had a bow that had light pink in it with polka dots. So we're going to use these two bows. Nice and simple. Not everything has to be super complicated. But yes, she sent me the picture with all these cans. And she said, can you make that for me? And my first thought was, yes, I can pop a hole, 2 holes in the back of the can, and then just put a wire through it and wire it to the frame. That was my first thought. But then when I got these, I realized that it's really thin. And if I take like a awl or something, or scissors or something, and try to poke through it, it's going to poke through the other side. And so what I did is I took some super glue, like a little dot, maybe this big. Is that a technical amount? I put a little bit of super glue, because then the problem is that these cans are arched, right? So I wanted to like flip it over because we want the name to be showing. She wants the name to show. So I took some super glue and I put a little dot on there. I took the cable mount and I put them all on the same spot. So they're all exactly the same spot, right on where the nutritional thing starts. Super glue, cable mount, and then I took Gorilla Glue, hot glue, and put all around. I don't think it's going to pull off. It's not super secure. Like I took my finger and I tried to like peel part of it off, and I think it would peel off. But I think it's going to be hanging on her bedroom door or somewhere in the house where it's not going to be in the sun. It's not going to be exposed to, you know, the elements. And we're going to put a pipe cleaner through there, the little holes, and we're going to attach this to our wreath. So I think it's going to turn out just fine. If it doesn't, at least we'll all be together to see it not turn out. You know, why do something by yourself when you can do it with friends? You know? But let me know you're here. Let me know. All right, so this mesh we have, again, this is a 14-inch frame. I spray painted it light tan or white just to allow the dark green not to show through the mesh as much, even though I don't think you're going to see the frame. We have 9 pipe cleaners cut in half, so it's 18 because we're going to do 18 on here. We got 1 roll of pink mesh. It is item RE130222. It's just basic light pink mesh, and we're going to attach it to our frame. So let's do it. So say hey when you hop on. Let me know where you're watching from. Let me know if you guys have ever made a wreath like this. We're going to be using Alani energy drinks on our wreath. It is not for sale, okay? This is a gift. I was asked to do this. And, you know, I could do that. You know, when you know a wreath maker, you know, you can ask for things like that. And then they, you know, I think it's going to be cute. And you know what? I don't think it's something that I would have thought to do, but you know what? It's all right. I think it's going to be cute. Hey, Teresa, how are you? How are you guys? Teresa, we are making something we've never made before. We are making a Alani energy drink wreath per request of a special lady in my life. She sent me a picture, I assume from Pinterest. It might have been one of her friends that made it. I'm not sure. But it is going to have light pink mesh on it, and it's going to have energy drinks and a bow, because that's how we do. So we'll see. I think it's going to be relatively quick. I already super glued and Gorilla Glue hot glued a cable mount to the back of all the cans so that we can tie them into our wreath. We're going to put a pipe cleaner through the back, and then we're going to tie it right to the frame. Oh, snowflakes, Annette, we got some snowflakes too. Hey, Sheila, Alabama. I hope no snow for you, Sheila. Yeah, we had a couple snowflakes too. I was getting gas this morning, and I'm like, oh, what is that? You know, it's in the high 30s today. Is our high. It said, I checked it a little bit ago. It said it was in the 30s. It felt like 19. So there's that. Yesterday it was relatively nice. It was like in the 40s yesterday. So the kids were outside. I was not. It's a little chilly for me. Hey, Marissa. How are you? Good morning to you. I know, Teresa. Oh my goodness. I don't even. Come on. I know it is Michigan, and growing up, this is how it always was, the end of March. Technically it was spring, but you never knew if it was going to act like spring or if it was going to be snowing. So who knows? But you know what? It's going to get warmer. It's going to happen. Our my crocus has bloomed in my backyard. I was talking to you guys about that, and the bunnies. No bunnies, but we saw a raccoon this morning. A big one. Oh, Marissa. Girl, brace yourself. And no, I am not selling this. I would like to, look. Girl, we're not drinking these. Hey, Marsha from Kentucky. So these are, apparently it's like the thing. They're called Alani energy drinks. My sweet little teen, not my teen, but a close teen to me, messaged me a picture from Pinterest or somewhere of a wreath with the cans on it and a bow and these yucky, cheap looking florals in between the cans. And she said, can you make this for me? And I said, yes, but it will be better. So we took aspects from it. She gave me all her own cans. The ones that she likes, they're all different flavors. So it's going to be a nice bright wreath. She said she liked the pink that was in the picture. So we have pink mesh, just basic pink mesh, because it's not really going to be showing through. We took our 14-inch frame. We spray painted it white so that the dark green won't be showing through as much. We're going to make a bow with a little bit of pink, and that's what we're going to do. So I already took some cable mounts. I super glued a dot to the back. I put Gorilla Glue hot glue around it. You know, it's kind of tricky when you're sticking things to metal, but it's gonna work. And this wreath will not be exposed to any type of elements, so it's okay. I assume it's gonna be hung on like a bedroom door or something. So yeah, this is the first time I've ever done this. So I've had to use my creativity to try to figure out, all right, how are we gonna do this? So yes, before anyone says anything, I am not selling this. It is a gift item. It was a custom order. It's a gift item. Okay, because I know that, you know, it can become a slippery slope with licensing and all the things. So, all right, so we're just gonna ruffle it right up the middle. We don't need it to be super full. We're just getting a base so that in between the cans will be some mesh, and you know, it's gonna be just fine. It's gonna be cute too. And I did green and pink on purpose because some of these cans are green, some of them are pink, some are orange, and all the things. So I figured, you know what? It's totally okay if the pipe cleaners are showing a little bit, because it just helps add to the bright color and, you know, the feel of like teenage fun and all the things. Not that teenage fun is colored, but you know. Colleen, thank you. It was not my idea. Well, it's, you know, I was inspired and asked, and you know what? We'll see. We'll see, you know. Part of me always tries to be like, you know, in with what's cool. Isn't it funny? Like, do you always remember, I always remember being like that age and thinking like, by 30, I'm like, oh, by 30, my life is gonna be so done. You know, not done, but like, I'll have all my kids, I'll have my wife, or not my wife, I'll be a wife, and I'll have a house, and, you know, a career, and, you know, because you think like 30 is so old when you're that age, you know. And then the older you get, the younger you feel. You still feel young. And I feel like the older I get, the younger, older ages sound. You know? You know what I mean? But yes. But I came in here because I wanted to make this today with you guys. I didn't do it last week because I was, you know, in craft show mode. And now that I'm done with craft show mode for now, I do have another one in about a month. So I'm done for now with the craft show stuff. You know, I organized it all. I organized my bin. I made sure I, you know, got rid of like any zip ties that were cut or whatever. I had to buy some more zip ties. So I got those ordered and put in my bin, so we're good to go. But yes, so many of you guys were so sweet. I did that little live showing you guys what my setup looked like, and so many of you guys commented with all your well wishes and sweet buy and buys, and I'm so thankful. The show went really well. How do you keep your ribbon from like, thanks for your help the other night. Oh, good. From like unraveling? Is that what you mean? Usually I curl it a time or two on the mesh, or I'll cut it a longer length, but I feel like if you use a sharp rotary cutter, it kind of helps, and try to make a straight line. But mesh will always fray. That is the nature of the beast. It's just kind of how it goes. It's a woven material. The higher quality ones will fray less, but it will always fray, unfortunately. You just trim it. Be right. And I always put the cut edge facing down, so it doesn't show, it minimizes the frays on the front. You know, if you do have a little fray on the back, just trim it up, you know, when you're all done. But oh, falling apart. I don't, my ribbon doesn't fall apart. I handle it as like minimally as possible. But I feel like higher quality stuff, it actually is, like some things, you know, you get what you pay for. Some things you can like skimp on and no one can tell. But wreath making materials, it pretty much is, you get what you pay for. So higher quality mesh and higher quality ribbons, you can tell. It is a difference, you know. Oh, Teresa, go on. Let me tell you. So what I did this time is I saw another wreath maker had done it. They took, so I bought my grid walls. I did that when I first started. They're from a brand called Granger. They do like boxes, like they're kind of like Uline. And I bought those. They are 2 feet wide by 6 feet tall. My dad cut them all down to about 5.5 feet tall, because when they were 6 feet tall, They couldn't really all fit my SUV super securely, and I didn't want to have to borrow a different vehicle every time I did a show. And B, when they were 6 feet tall, I felt like I was in a shoebox. Like I could not see anyone. You know what I mean? It's like, I didn't like it. Not making a lot of sense to you, but understood the first message. Okay, let me see. Let me see, Marsha. I'm not sure. This is 20 inches because this wreath is not going to be super full. The picture that she sent me was literally cans like strapped to a wreath frame with some flowers in between the cans to hide the frame. Girl, we're not doing that. So I didn't want to make it super full because the picture that she sent me was not a super full wreath. And even though I think super full wreaths are the best, I wanted to give her as close to what she sent me, you know, with it still looking good. Because, you know, it can't be a peekaboo wreath if I'm not proud of it, right? We're not doing that. But yes. Okay, so yes, we had our grid walls. They're cut down to 5 feet or 5.5 feet, not 6 feet like they originally were. I have 11 of them. So usually my 10 by 10 shows, it's enough to line 3 walls and then have like one on each side of the walls that's like a T, you know? And then I always have a spot, like a 4 foot or a 6 foot spot that I leave blank from the grid wall so I could put my banner across. But this time what I did that was different, and it was really not a big investment, but it really did pay off, is I saw online on a different wreath maker when she showed her show, like her show setup, and it looked good. And all she did was she bought window curtains, like fabric window curtains, not even high quality ones, that were black, and they were like 2 foot wide panels, and she attached them to the back of her grid walls so that you couldn't see through the grid wall like to your neighbor vendor, you know. And it really worked. And I attached them to the top of my grid walls with binder clips. They were like the big binder clips, and I just literally attached the curtains to the back, and it looked good. And I was like, all right, not everything that you try like that turns out, but that turned out, and I was very pleasantly pleased about that. I did the math, and I was like, okay, so how many am I gonna need, you know, for a 10 by 10? Figured it out. I bought them, I brought them, and I set it up, and it did not take long at all. It was amazing. She said that sometimes she will attach long magnets, like all along the edge of the curtain, to attach to the back of your grid walls, because they're, you know, made of metal. But I wasn't sure about that because I wasn't sure the weight of the curtain, if I got the right magnets. You know, I didn't want to like risk, you know, putting the magnets all the way across, which is time consuming, and then them falling off the curtain or falling off the metal thing. So I just used binder clips, and it worked amazing. I just put them every like, you know, 10 inches or something or whatever to make sure it wasn't sagging. It looked really good. And the grommets were like along the bottom, and you couldn't even tell. So thumbs up. I would suggest that, because you can get them really cheap on Amazon, and you know, black is not really a high demand curtain color, so I think it allows you to, you know, get some at a reasonable cost, and just make sure that they're, you know, the height of your grid walls, you know. So I got like 2 foot by 6 foot or 2 foot by 5.5 feet or something. It worked out great. Highly suggest. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10 stars. But yes, yeah, craft show went good. I'm very thankful. I had brought, like I told you guys before, I was planning on bringing a couple showstoppers. I brought the Jesus wreath and the tulip wreath, which did not sell. I was moderately surprised by that. Here, let me back it up. When I first did that show last year, well, technically I did it Christmas. Not this past Christmas, but the Christmas before. And it went good. And then I came back for the spring show last year there. And it did not go. It did not go good. But here's the thing. People naturally are more apt to buy Christmas wreaths out of any time of the year. Christmas, you know, people want Christmas wreaths. They don't hang a wreath any other time. They will hang one on Christmas. So I feel like people are more willing to spend more money on Christmas wreaths and look for a Christmas wreath. Let me know if you agree with that. Colleen, curtains were a great idea. I've been using my tent sides on the back of my grid walls. Nice. Yes, Colleen. So, you know, when I did the Christmas show there, I brought all big $85, $90 wreaths. Did amazing. Then when I came back for the spring show last year, girl, Gail, I know. And the Jesus one. Neither of them sold. But you know what? That big teal bunny one that we made, that orange and blue with all the florals around the side and the huge teal bunny and the bow over here, that one sold. That was my very first sale, and I loved it. And she was a repeat customer from a show that I had done in the past. So repeat customers, you know? But she had bought it. It was my very first sale, and you know what? It paid for my booth. So you know what? It was all uphill from there. You know, I don't know about you, but as soon as, you know, we love making wreaths, but at the end of the day, you don't want to be doing it for free, and you don't want to be losing money. So, anyways, okay. So this time, so last time I did it in the spring, I brought all big wreaths, all $89, $85, $90 wreaths and more. And you know what happened? I sold 2. The entire show last year. And you know what? I don't know about you, but it's not a good feeling to me to bring 20 wreaths, sit there for 8 hours, and sell 1. Girls, no thank you. That is not my idea of a good time. And I told you guys last week, you know, I was getting comments last year, oh, these are too expensive, you know, hearing people on the outside talking. So this time what I did is I made that side shorter so that people didn't have as much room to peruse on the outside. They had to come into my booth to look at my wreath. I did that. I did not price my wreaths this year. I did not. Just like the last Christmas show I did where I did not price my wreath. I brought a little paper that had all my prices on it, and then if people were interested and I could see that they were trying to look for a price, I would come up to them and say, hey, let me know if you have any questions. And at that point, if they liked the wreath, they would ask me how much it cost. And at that point, I would tell them how much it cost. And if they liked it, they would buy it. If they thought it was too much, they didn't buy it, and they said they would come back, which is fine. And they couldn't make comments about my prices because my prices weren't on my wreaths, you know? And this time I brought more skinny wreaths. I brought more small items. I only brought, I think, 3 really big wreaths, right? Like that bunny, and then the tulip, and the Jesus. Those are my 3 big wreaths I brought. I sold 1. I sold 1 of my new skinny wreaths that I made. The one with the turquoise ribbons and that metal bunny. I sold that one. I sold a lot of older wreaths that I brought. I had brought probably 6 or 7 wreaths that were older, like as in like 2 and 3 years old. You know, my techniques have changed since I made those wreaths. At the time, that was the best I could do. But now I do things a little bit differently because, you know, you evolve as you get better and you make more things. And so I brought a bunch of those wreaths, and you know what? I marked them down and they sold. So I sold, you know, one of those little bunnies. I sold one a grapevine. I sold 9 things. I don't know exactly what I sold that grapevine carrot hanger that we made together. And I sold the ladybug hanger on Etsy the night before. So both of those hangers were gone. So that is motivating that's something that I need to look into restocking. Because I even had somebody at the show that told me, this was fun, I loved it. She's like, I've seen you on Facebook make wreaths, and I was hoping to get that ladybug wreath, but it had already sold online. And I was like, oh shoot. And I couldn't tell her that I was gonna make her one for sure because I didn't know if I could get another one. So I'm gonna be on the hunt for that. But that was motivating because it was knowing that there is, sometimes you can kind of think that you know what people are looking for, but you don't always, sometimes you don't know, right? Like, hey Maria, you know, you can kind of think about it and try to think what people are looking for, but sometimes it's hard to know exactly. So I had quite a few people message me on here, say, you know, other wreath makers saying, I'm surprised that Jesus one didn't sell, or I'm surprised that tulip one didn't sell. Girl, I am too, but I don't know. It's okay. I'm thankful for the things that did sell for sure. And I'm thankful that I was able to unload some of my past season wreaths to make room for new stuff, you know, because everything I make, I have to store until it sells, right? So, and that takes up room, you know, here in my home. Maria, guess what? We're making, obviously we got pink, right? This is our pink mesh base. We are using Alani energy drink cans. I'm not selling this. Not selling this, guys. But if you guys need to know this mesh, RE130222, I had very sweet girl message me saying, can you make one of my closeness? If I could make her an Alani energy drink wreath. So girl, here we are. She sent me a picture. It was cute. It was not cute enough. Let's just say that. We can do better. So I'm just taking I don't know if a third of a pipe cleaner is gonna work, but let's try. And okay, so I marked where we're gonna put our bow, so I don't need to put a can there. All right, let me think how I figured this out. We have 1, 2. But yeah, I super glued these to the back, cable mounts to the back. Then I put Gorilla Glue hot glue around the edge. And would it hold it forever if something was like pulling on it? No. But I think this is gonna be hung up indoor, like in a bedroom, I assume. So I think it'll be just fine. You really like the burlap stripe wreath. The pink one? The pink one with the eggs? I like that. You're right. You will never know. I know. Colleen, I tried to make so I do know based after the show, because I always try to like analyze after the show. Like, okay, so you know, I can fix things that didn't go well, or I can do more of what did go well, you know, in the future. What did go well was having older wreaths on sale. That went well, you know, because not everybody goes there looking for a $90 wreath, and that's okay. I don't agree with that, but I respect it. I'm just kidding. Oh, no problem, Marissa. Catch the replay. That's the problem. I have yeah, trees. Well, trees. I don't have them all over my house. We have shelves. So how I store my wreaths is I will take. Okay, let me count real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, we have 6 and 4. Okay. All right. Hold on. Let me think what I'm doing here. Okay. So 6 and 4 is 10. Having older wreaths marked down was a good idea, because even though I know that I am capable of doing better wreaths than that, everyone has different standards, and they're still nice wreaths. So I feel like that was a good choice because people liked that. They liked having nice wreaths at a lower cost. You know, I know that I'm capable of doing more, and I like to spend more on my wreaths now, on my wreath supplies. But not everyone has that same standard, so I feel like that was good. You know, there's nothing wrong with those wreaths. They're gorgeous. They're just not necessarily what I make now, right? So, but I was able to unload some of those, and that was nice. so that was good. And I still had a couple left, so I'm gonna bring those to my next show. Sorry. Oh, Marissa, so you're still here? Or did you have to go? Or did you miss some of it? Either way, catch the replay, girl. If you need to. We're just attaching these right to our frame. And we have 10 of them, so we're gonna attach them around, and then we're going to add a bow. And I think this is gonna be cute. So we got so far. Isn't that funny? Who would have thought? Who would have thought you'd see me making an energy drink, right? But yes. Yep, the show went good. I'm thankful. It was nice to see people, because I was in the same, okay, this is our top spot. I was in the same spot that I was last spring. So it was nice. I would love to be in like the main gym next time, because I was in what's called the auxiliary gym, which is like a small gym. So it would be nice to be in the main gym next time. There was only one other mesh wreath maker, and it looked like a man to me. I don't know for sure. It was like towards the end of the show I went, and I was able to walk around because it was slower. The only drawback to not having my stuff priced was when my family came to see me to like allow me to have like a little bit of a break. I wasn't really able to leave for long because nothing was priced, and I couldn't be like leave them there and then somebody would ask how much something cost and I'd say I don't know. Someone watch it. Yeah. You know, so that was a drawback. And I'm sure there might have been people that wanted to buy that just didn't want to ask how much it cost. That's possible. But I kind of figured, you know, if they like it and they ask how much it costs, then they're already like kind of invested in it, and they're more likely to buy it, you know, if they already have it in their mind that they like it enough to ask how much it costs, you know. And it also definitely requires more of the seller, because you constantly have to be like getting up and down. Are those between the mesh? Sort of there. And I'm attaching them to these, the pipe cleaners. We're gonna see how it goes. I think it's gonna be cute. So yeah, not pricing your stuff requires you to constantly be getting up and down off your chair, right? So you can't like totally relax. And I kind of was getting a little bit nervous because like after a few minutes of getting up and down like a million times, my back was starting to get a little bit sore, and I was like, uh-oh, I don't want to have some troubles, but I ended up being just fine. And it kind of makes you to step out of your comfort zone and like talk to people. But that's kind of why you're at a show, you know, and right, so, you know, and this is not anything I've ever made before, and we'll see how it turns out if I would ever make it again, I think. I have a sweet girl that asked me to make this for her, and the picture she sent me was not up to my standards, so this is cuter, in my opinion, already, than the picture she sent me. So, this is a 14-inch frame. We have these ones, and now we're going to attach the ones in between now, and then we're going to put our bow up top. I take the photo of the wreath and write the price on the side of it and put it in the binder for my husband. Oh, that's smart. Marissa, I like that. But the only thing is too is like I use Square to have the people check out, and I have to have my phone, right? Because it goes through my phone, the money. So, but you know what? It worked out great. I was so thankful. My mom brought up my kids so that my boys could shop at the craft show, because they're like really into like the 3D printed stuff. You know, they have like little fidgets and like cute little animals and stuff. So they really like that. And so it was a plus. It was a win. It's always nice to sew, of course, and it was nice to see my boys and for them to see what I do, you know. So I tell them about it, but they were always like a little bit, I don't know about you guys, but a lot of kids touch stuff a lot, you know. And I didn't really want them at a craft show if they were touching everything, you know, for the, I don't know, that's just me. I just didn't want them touching everything. And craft shows can be really busy, you know, but now that they're getting a little bit older, they're able to conduct themselves in more mature ways. And I told them, like, this is a test to see how you guys can do, and you know what, they did great. So a win. All right, let me attach this here. But yeah, we switched phones. Oh, girl, you got Marissa, you got this down. You got this, Marissa. But yeah, I had a little paper that told me how much everything, you know, a little reference sheet that, you know, told me how much everything was. And look how cute. It's turning out a little bit. It's turning out a little cute. So yeah, it went really good. Who would have thought? You know what these remind me? Like, I've never tried these before, but I was talking to my sister about these Alani drinks, and she was saying they're kind of like Red Bull when we were kids. Not kids, but teenagers. You know, Red Bull was like a thing that a lot of people did. So a lot of people drink, I should say. That makes more sense. I don't like carbonation, so I was never into energy drinks. Even when I drink pop, which is very rare, I always stir it to get all the bubbles out. They're cute faces. You know, they could. It's true, but it was very crowded when they came. They purposely waited, you know, so the show started at 10. They waited to come until like 11 or 11:30, but by then, because I was in like the small gym, I felt like it took a little bit of time for like all the people to come find me. So I feel like it didn't get crowded until like 10:30. So when they came, it was like peak time. So I didn't get to visit a whole lot with them because there was like people walking around, and I wanted to make sure that I was available to tell them the cost so that they didn't like leave, you know, and not buy their wreath. But you know what? It was so sweet having them. We took a picture together, and it was like my two worlds, you know, my boys and my wreaths. So it was very sweet. I was very thankful for that. So, and they got, yeah, if you guys have ever been to a craft show, you know that there's people that sell like 3D printed items. So they're like little plastic toys for kids. They have like little fidget spinny things and little animals and stuff. And so my boys were really into that. They each got a few things. They got like, there was somebody selling like little like gemstone, you know, items. So they got some, one got one shaped like a moon, and one got one shaped like a star, I think. So they were happy with their purchases. They were excited to show them to me. That's cute. It reminds me of like a pink bubblegum situation. You know, I think the girl is going to love this. Girl, I may get some from her friends. I was thinking about that. I'm like, this is not expensive, obviously. It's just mesh. It's a 14-inch frame. But girl, you're right. The mamas come and buy them. Because moms like these too. These Alani drinks. I've never drank one because I don't like the carbonation. And girl, you guys know I love my coffee. So I'm not leaving that coffee. I'm not looking for anything to take the place of my coffee is what I should be saying. But yeah, the show went good. I'm thankful. And I got one more spring show. It's going to be interesting. It's at a quilt show. So it's not even a craft show. It's a quilt show. They have it once every few years to not sell their quilts, but to like showcase their quilts. And there's vendors there that sell things that appeal to wreath makers. And not wreath makers, quilt makers. And so we'll see. All right, I have one left, but I think our bow is going to take up this whole spot. But maybe, I don't know, we'll figure out. It might be, no, here, let's put one more. And then we'll put the bow. Thank you, Annette. Yeah, Alani cans, Alani energy drinks. I'm not selling this. This is for my sweetie. But, yeah, the picture she sent me was either made by somebody she knows, because it looked like it was made by like a teenager, or somebody that just uses what they have. And it was cute for that. You know, if you didn't know that it could look better, it did look good. But she's like, can you make this for me? And I said, yes, but it'll look better. And then I said, you know, because I had some light pink. I'll have to post full pictures later. Not to bash the other one, but just to show you guys my inspiration and then what I made. But it was just like the cans attached to the frame somehow. And then it had pink florals like smashed in between the cans to kind of cover up the frame, it looked like. So I thought at first about doing that and then putting florals in between, but then I thought the florals might cover up the cans. Plus it's actually cheaper to use mesh than to add florals, you know, for that pink pop in between. Oh, that is cute. You know? Look achieved. All right, let's make a bow. So here we go. This is what we have so far. This is what we have. Nice and sweet, like a little teen, you know. It even makes sounds. But I think she'll like that. We'll see. But yes. Yeah, it was fun. It was fun. I'm thankful. And then what was extra exciting is going into the show, right, my show was Saturday. Friday, I had sold 4 items on Etsy. A girl could get used to that, you know? So I sold 4 items on Etsy the day before the sale. So I actually had to take 2 wreaths out of my car that I had packed up to take to the sale because they sold on Etsy and they had to ship out, you know? So I was like, all right. Taking some wreaths out that sold before I even get there. That's not too shabby. Thank you. Thanks, Marissa. So that was good. All right, so we're not going to make 2 long tails because we don't want to cover up any of the cans, but we do want to cover up a little of the middle. So we're just going to do 10-inch tails. But yeah. And one thing I did, which I don't normally do this. I've never done this in the past, but you know what? We had about a half hour left of the show. And I was like looking around at my booth and I was thinking, I don't want to store any of these Easter wreaths. There's only 2 weeks left till Easter. And I'm thinking, I don't know. So I had that carrot door hanger, you know, the one that we made on here, that burlap orange one. And I just put the florals and the ribbon on it, right? It was kind of an expensive door hanger, but all you had to do was add the ribbon and the florals. So I had that one there and it had not sold yet. There was about 40 minutes left of the show. And I had this sweet gentleman come in to my booth and he was looking around and he was like looking at the carrot like he wanted it. Because you know how it is when somebody likes something. Oh, good for you, Marissa. Marissa, I saw that you posted that. Good. I know that sound. That sound is a nice sound to hear. It's almost, I was going to say it's addictive. It's not addictive, but it is nice. So there was this older man. He was looking at the carrots that burlap carrot. And it is a bigger item, right? It's 24 inches across and 24 inches deep, you know, this way. And I was thinking, I don't want to store that all, you know, until next year. So, he comes into my booth, he's looking at that carrot, and he says, how much is that carrot? And I said, $59, because that's what I was selling it for. And he goes, would you take 50? Yes. Yes, I would. You know, I'm not going to store it for $9. You know, if it's at the beginning of the show, I wouldn't have maybe made that deal. You know, I'm not all about, you don't want to undermine yourself or your talent or your time. Girl, I did. I took it. I took that $50 and I was like, yeah, I felt just fine about that, you know? That's what I did. I've never had somebody, you know, try to talk me down before, but I was okay with it. So that's what we did. So let me know. I don't normally take offers like that, but I've never actually been offered anything like that before. I've never had somebody counter offer me at a craft show. I didn't know that was a thing that people did. But has that ever happened to you guys at craft shows? Somebody trying to hassle you on your, not hassle you, but like negotiate you on your price? I've never had that before happen. You know, and it definitely helps, you know, when you have to tell the customer the price every single time, it definitely helps you get over your fear of telling somebody how much your stuff costs, right? Because that was a thing that, you know, it wasn't a fear that I had, but it kind of made you, you know, somebody would say, how much does this cost? And you'd be like, oh, well, you know, and then you feel like you got to like explain to them why it costs that much. It's this amount, but it's because of this, which, I mean, we shouldn't feel like we need to do that, you know, but some people like to negotiate. I know. And it's fun. Negotiating's fun. I have never thought to negotiate at a craft show before. That's what I'm saying. But yeah, some people do like to do that. And you know what? I'm not going to store it for $9. You want that? You take that carrot, you know? Because I made enough of a profit to feel fine with that. I didn't want to store it. And it was really cute. And, but sometimes no matter what you do, you know, your pictures don't, you know, fully show an item as much as seeing it in real life, you know? As much as I try, people would always say, your wreaths are so much bigger, even than in the pictures, you know, or there's so much. I had somebody leave a review, and I'm thankful. I'm thankful for the review, because every review is like so good, you know, so powerful. It helps your sales and all the things. And it helps give you, you know, some credibility and all. But I had somebody leave me a review, I think yesterday, and she said, it looks better than the picture. I'm like, well, I hope you thought you were getting something good, you know? Yeah. But I think she was trying to say it looked even better than the pictures, how she was trying to say it, which I'm thankful. You know, it was even better than she expected, right? All right, so we're trying, I was meaning to do a simple bow, because the picture that she sent me just literally had a one loop on each side bow, a 2-loop bow. But you know what? That's not how I do around here. We're going to give her the very best, so. But yeah, it would be cute if her little friends liked it and wanted to buy, their moms wanted to buy one. All right, we can do that. Here, this is not right. This needs to be turned. But yeah, did anybody else have a craft show this past weekend? How did you guys do? Marissa, I know you had one and it went good, it sounds like to me. And you had an Etsy sale. Woohoo! That's fun. I feel like with Etsy sales, you know, this Easter season, I did better. I sold more than I ever have. And I'm so thankful. Diane, let's see. You're new here. Hey. You what? I don't make many wreaths anymore, but I still have lots. Oh, geez. This is a long one. Wonder if we had. Materials plus time. Oh, I didn't even see the whole. Some of your message wasn't showing through. But you can message me. You can message me directly, because I couldn't read all of that. comment, unfortunately, because it was like blending in with my background. But I do feel like wreaths. So when I started making wreaths, it was the year before COVID. Okay, so it was just the luck of the draw, right? I started the Easter, so almost one full year before COVID hit is when I started. And then on the flip side, a lot of people started making wreaths during COVID. Okay, so I already had my shop for about, a year before everyone else started. So then the year of COVID, no one could shop in the stores anymore. So a lot of people were shopping online, and I was able to sell a lot of wreaths that year. But then what happened was the next year, everyone charged tax on your wreaths, not in person, no. Thank you, Diane. Oh, Annette, your sister loved her birthday wreath, yay! But what happened was, so the year of COVID, I sold a lot of wreaths because people couldn't shop in the store. But then what happened was the next year, everyone was able to start shopping again. So people were like extra excited to shop in the store. So they weren't shopping as much online. Plus, a lot of wreath makers started making wreaths during COVID because people were at home. They needed some kind of hobby. And that wreath making is one of the hobbies that people picked up. So then all of a sudden there was a lot of wreath makers. And sometimes when there's a lot of competition, it's a good thing because it challenges you to do better. But sometimes it makes it harder because there's more wreath makers out there. So then you kind of have to like work harder to get your wreaths found in a sea of wreath makers. So what I'm trying to say is sometimes people will have a hard time selling wreaths because sometimes what we'll do is we'll compare what we think our success should be based on other people that have been doing it for a long time, if that makes sense. Because there are a lot of wreath makers that have been doing this for a long time. And when I started, I was like, oh, okay, they're really successful. So this is going to be like really fast for me too. It's going to like take off and I'm going to be making a gajillion and, all I'm going to get is success, right? But it didn't happen that way. This has been a long, I've been on Etsy for 7 years. Most of that time I still am a stay-at-home mom. So most of the time that I was making wreaths and selling wreaths, I was also caring for at least one child full-time that wasn't in school yet. So I wasn't like, it didn't take off. What I'm saying is that sometimes things seem like an overnight success, but really it was not. It's just that you found them when they were on their their upswing. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? You know what I mean? Like sometimes people will be like, oh, not saying that I am a success. I'm saying that lately I've been having time to do new things like lives, like craft shows, and different things like that. Sorry, I'm trying to undo my door hanger in the back and it's being tricky. But anyways, making and selling wreaths is not an overnight situation. It is not. I've heard somebody before say that selling wreaths is not just selling wreaths. And that is true. You have to work to have your wreaths be seen. Like you have to fight to stay at the surface. You know what I mean? Or get to the surface. Right? Like it doesn't just happen. People don't just find you on Etsy. Like if you type in, I don't know, yellow tulip wreath. There'll be hundreds of yellow tulip wreaths that pop up. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's not, you have to keep trying different things and like work in the algorithm and all the things, So some people get into wreath making and they think that it's going to be like a great way, and it is a good way to make money, but it also is it's not easy. It's not an easy way to make money. I would say it that way. You know, it's fun. It's it's creative. It helped me in a lot of ways, right? I met all you guys. We got, it's fun. It's fun to make things that bring others joy. It makes me happy knowing that somebody chose my item to hang on their door. But there's a lot of, let's be honest, there's a lot of times like in the summer when it's slow, when I don't sell wreaths. I don't sell wreaths every day. I don't sell wreaths every week, and, you kind of have to, I'm sitting here, I'm making reels, I'm doing lives, I'm doing posts, like searching about algorithms and different things to try to stay seen, Oh, Annette, thank you. She wanted a simple wreath, so I mean. This one's not high enough for me. Hold on. Let me fix it. It's so funny. All right. This is my take in a pop can wreath. I'll take a picture of it outside. It'll look cuter. Because like the way that my setup is, my light is back here. So the light is shining through it and making it look like it's not super full and cute. Oh, there you go, Teresa. But yeah, I mean, selling wreaths is not just about wreaths. It's about a lot more things than that. And, it's about learning and like things change and then you have to try to relearn things. And, sometimes it can feel overwhelming to like learn all the things, but you just do your best, and it's a journey. It's not a race. I don't know. It's not a sprint. I should say that. But I'm the type where like if I do something, I do it. And, you just gotta try to do better each year better than the last year, Take what worked, get rid of what doesn't, and move along. Thank you, Maria. Aw, Teresa. I hope so. I think she will too. She's an early teen, so. But yeah, I think this is cute. Because if this was me, I would add a bunch of more things, but she wanted it simple, so. Thank you, Marissa. I appreciate you. I'll take a picture of myself holding it outside. Thanks, Gail. Gail, I appreciate you. Yeah, the picture was the cans, some florals squished in between, and a bow that just had one loop on each side and tails, and it was polka dot ribbon, and it wasn't even dovetailed, the edges. So I know she wouldn't want like a ton. I know she didn't want like ribbon. I don't think she would have liked ribbon tails and a bunch of florals. Maybe she would, but we'll see. But I think she'll think this is cute. It's it's meant to focus on the cans. I get it. I like Starbucks. I would hang a Starbucks wreath if I had one, so I get it. But yeah. Do you guys have any more questions about stuff? Talked about the craft show. We talked about this wreath. My next wreath I'm going to be making, I'm going to be focusing on patriotic. I'm going to try to get some more of those door hangers, like the carrot one. I know that they make other ones. See you later, and have a good day. I've seen they make flip-flops. I'm going to try to get some more ladybugs. I don't know what else they make, but we'll see. And then I'm going to make a really big wreath for my mom's porch. It's a surprise. She likes to she has a covered porch, and she likes to display her wreath on her brick wall that is under her covered porch so that she can see it out her front window when she sits. And I make her one for every season, but eventually they get kind of worn out even though they're covered because some sun does get through there, so the sun eventually will, get the ribbons. So the one that she's been displaying for her spring wreath, it's been like 3 or 4 years. It's time. It's time for a new one, so I'm so excited. So, but when I make her wreaths, they are very large, as in like the frame, this is a 14-inch frame. The frames are like 36 inches at least, so they're very big. So you guys have seen, I made one for my dad last winter in that same large size, so I'll be making it for her too. And I'm excited for that because I'm going to be using a lot of tulips and a lot of bright colors because I don't know if I have a summer one for her, so it might have to be spring and summer. I'm going to have to double check at her house to make sure she doesn't have a summer one. But so I think that's what I'm going to be working on next, is a huge wreath for my mom. Sorry, I have hot glue I'm trying to pick off. But yeah, do you guys have any more questions on anything? Or if you guys catch the replay, do you have to charge taxes on Etsy? Etsy does take taxes out of online sales, Teresa, and fees. But then at the end of the year, when we do taxes, I guess there's like more money we have to pay. My husband does that. So yeah, I don't do taxes when I do craft shows. But I don't know, maybe I should. I don't know. I know some people will charge like extra money to people that use credit cards for the fees. I don't do that. That's just kind of absorbed. But you're probably right. I use an app called Square. And I bought a little credit card reader where they can just tap it on the top, or I accept Venmo or cash. I was just hanging out for a moment to see if there's any more questions. But yeah, let me know. I'll post a picture of this. You guys can let me know how cute it is, and I'll even do the comparison picture, so you guys can see like my take on that. But yeah, I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. If you guys watch the replay, let me know. If you don't see a red little square up in the corner that says live, this is the replay. And just make sure you write replay if you have any questions or comments, and I'll make sure that I'll know that it wasn't already addressed. And I think that's about it. But yeah, you guys like it? Give me like some reactions. The reactions help me in the algorithm too. But yeah. All right, guys. Do you guys have any suggestions of the different kinds of wreath we should make next? Like, is there anything that you guys want to see? Because I do have plans to make like, bees, lemons, flowers, ladybugs. I'm just looking at my ribbons over there. But yeah, if you guys have like something that you want to see. Yes, Marissa. I know. You know what's nice is that those sales that I made this weekend in the show, nine sales, it pushed me over my 650th Etsy, because it counts as an Etsy sale too. And it shows that I have 651 Etsy sales now. I can't believe that. I can't believe that. When I started, if you would have told me, I know that sounds cliche, but if you would have told me that I would sell 650 wreaths or door hangers, I didn't even know. I would sell one. So it's been a ride, but we're still going, I'm so blessed and thankful. I cannot even tell you. Patriotic. Teresa, yes, we will be doing patriotic. I got all my patriotic ribbons over here. I got my Americana ribbons. I got my patriotic ribbons. So let's do it. All right. You guys have a great day. Happy Monday. And I hope the sun shines for you. Let's see. A yellow and blue spring wreath. Okay, Colleen. All right, Colleen, we can do that. I like that. Thanks, Marissa. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate you guys' support and talking and all the things. All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye.